The ongoing mysteries surrounding Oak Island have become even more captivating with a recent discovery on Lot 24, which has deepened the intrigue of treasure hunters and researchers alike. Known for its enigmatic history and numerous attempts to uncover hidden treasures, Oak Island has long been a source of fascination. With countless twists and turns in the treasure-hunting drama, this latest find could potentially be the breakthrough that everyone has been waiting for, one that might finally connect the dots to the legendary treasure that has eluded searchers for centuries. Oak Island, located off the southern coast of Nova Scotia, is a remote patch of land surrounded by trees and water, shrouded in mystery. It's the kind of place where it feels as though secrets have been buried deeply, both literally in the earth and figuratively in its past. Among the many areas on the island, Lot 25 stands out. Today, Lot 25 is just a crumbling foundation surrounded by trees, but it once held significant historical importance. Back in the 18th century, it was the home of Samuel Ball, a man whose life story could hold the key to unlocking Oak Island's most legendary mystery. In 2020, a new wave of treasure hunters, led by brothers Marty and Rick Lagina, along with archaeologist Laird Niven, decided to dig deeper into the history of the island, particularly Lot 25, where Samuel Ball once lived. This decision led to a deep dive into his history and his possible connections to Oak Island's treasure, raising more questions than answers. Samuel Ball's name in Oak Island's history has always been surrounded by a sense of mystery. How did a man born into unimaginable hardship on a rice plantation near Charleston, South Carolina, end up as one of the wealthiest landowners in the area? Even more puzzling is whether he played a role in hiding or perhaps even recovering the legendary treasure that has driven so many treasure hunters to the island. To understand this mystery, we need to rewind to Samuel Ball's early life. Born in 1761, Samuel grew up on a plantation notorious for its grueling conditions, cultivating rice in swampy fields while enduring backbreaking labor and constant exposure to disease, including malaria and cholera. Life for Samuel and many others born into slavery was a constant cycle of survival. The threat of violence and the brutal conditions were a daily part of life. However, in 1776, the American Revolution dramatically changed Samuel's life. During the chaos of the Revolution, General Sir Henry Clinton issued a proclamation that promised freedom to enslaved people who escaped their rebel owners and joined the British Army. While it wasn't full emancipation, it offered a lifeline to many enslaved individuals, and Samuel was one of approximately 50 enslaved people who seized this opportunity. He left the plantation behind and crossed over to the British lines in South Carolina. This decision marked the beginning of Samuel's new life, one filled with uncertainty but also new opportunities. Samuel's journey took him north to New York, where he joined the Loyal Refugee Volunteers, a group with a reputation for daring raids and unconventional tactics. This group wasn't just about following military orders, it was about survival. They raided rebel homes, acquired goods, and made moves that were necessary during wartime but would have been illegal in peacetime. Samuel's time with this unit allowed him to learn important skills, some of which would later help him navigate the complex world of business and land ownership. These skills, though often gained through dubious means, were effective in helping him secure a prosperous future. After the American forces secured a significant victory in 1781, the tide of the war turned, and many loyalists to Britain were forced to flee. Samuel, like many others, made the life-changing decision to leave for British-occupied Canada, where the Crown had promised freedom, land, and goods to those who remained loyal. This decision led to a wave of migration, with nearly 5,000 black loyalists arriving in Nova Scotia, establishing 52 historic black communities. Samuel, however, had other plans. By 1787, he had purchased a 4-acre lot on Oak Island, Lot 25, for a price of just £8, a sum that was quite reasonable for someone starting over. But why Oak Island? The island at the time was not exactly prime real estate. Remote, isolated, and surrounded by trees. Some have speculated that Samuel's decision might have had something to do with his neighbor, Captain James Anderson, who owned the adjoining Lot 26. Anderson, like Samuel, had a colorful and complex history. Born in Maryland, Anderson became a pirate and privateer during the American Revolution. initially pledging loyalty to the United States before switching sides to the British after receiving command of an American ship. This defection didn't sit well with Thomas Jefferson, then the governor of Virginia, who charged Anderson with high treason and piracy. Anderson fled to Canada to escape these charges and eventually settled on Oak Island, purchasing Lot 26 in 1788. The proximity of Samuel Ball's Lot 25 to Anderson's Lot 26 raises questions. Did the two men know each other before arriving on Oak Island? Were they connected by a shared interest in something hidden on the island? While the exact relationship between the two remains unclear, what we do know is that after Captain Anderson left the island, Samuel Ball purchased his lot, which only adds to the mystery. Did Samuel know something about the island that no one else did? Was there a treasure hidden on Oak Island long before the treasure hunters arrived? Or was it a matter of coincidence that both men found themselves on the island? These questions remain unanswered, but as new discoveries continue to be made, it becomes increasingly likely that the pieces of the puzzle are finally beginning to fit together. Samuel Ball's rise from a humble cabbage farmer to a landowner with an impressive portfolio is both remarkable and mysterious. Starting with just 4 acres of land, Samuel managed to expand his holdings significantly by 1790, when he purchased nearby Hook Island for £6, a notable sum for the time. However, the question arises, how could a simple cabbage farmer afford such an expansion? Some historians speculate that the answer lies in his involvement with the British military during and after the American Revolution. The British government had a policy of awarding contracts to freed black settlers, allowing them to supply goods to the military. Given that cabbage was a vital resource for the British Navy, used to produce sauerkraut, a source of vitamin C crucial for preventing scurvy during long voyages, it's plausible that Samuel profited from supplying this valuable commodity. While the Navy eventually switched to using limes as a more practical alternative to cabbage, this shift did not seem to significantly impact Samuel's wealth, which continued to grow. His wealth might also have been fueled by other ventures, possibly involving business dealings or contracts with the British military, though the exact sources of his fortune remain unclear. However, 1795 proved to be a turning point not just for Samuel Ball, but for Oak Island itself. It was in this year that the so-called Money Pit was discovered, sparking a mystery that has captivated treasure hunters for centuries. The discovery began when 3 young men, curious about a strange depression in the ground on Lot 18, began digging. What they uncovered was nothing short of astonishing. At a depth of 30 feet, they encountered a wooden platform made of oak beams, and every 10 feet below that, the pattern repeated. This was clearly no natural formation. It was a deliberate, man-made structure. Over the following 2 centuries, treasure hunters would dig deeper, reaching over 150 feet in their quest to uncover whatever lay hidden beneath. Yet, in 1795, when the pit was first discovered, the dig had only gone down 30 feet. After the Money Pit discovery, Samuel Ball's behavior became more enigmatic. Rather than simply growing cabbages, he began acquiring more land on Oak Island. By the time he finished purchasing property, Samuel owned not just Lot 25, but also Lots 8, 24, 31, 32, 36, and 7, in addition to 100 acres on the mainland. This was no small real estate portfolio, especially for someone with the background of a freed slave and farmer. This raised the question, how did Samuel amass such wealth? Was there a connection between his sudden land acquisitions and the mysterious discovery of the Money Pit? Some speculate that Samuel may have uncovered a portion of the treasure hidden in the Money Pit or had knowledge of it. This theory is further supported by the fact that Samuel's land was located near the pit, which might have suggested a deeper connection to the island's history and the secrets it holds. In 2016, metal detection expert Gary Drayton and Oak Island historian Charles Barkhouse set out to investigate Lot 24, a property once owned by Samuel Ball, in search of clues that might illuminate the island's mysteries. Their findings were astonishing. As they scanned the property, they uncovered coins and other historical artifacts that hinted at a much larger historical narrative. These discoveries suggested that British military encampments had been established on the island during the 18th century, long before Samuel arrived. This aligns with a theory proposed by treasure hunter Fred Nolan, who believed that Oak Island was not merely a treasure site, but a key location in a British military operation. Nolan's theories gained traction in 1963 when he purchased 7 lots on Oak Island and began exploring the many stone markers scattered across the island. According to Nolan, these markers indicated not only the creation of the money pit but also the burial of smaller treasure caches across the island, suggesting that Oak Island had been used as a hiding place for valuable items. Nolan's theories were further supported by the historical context of the 7 Years' War, a global conflict fought between 1756 and 1763. One of the most significant events of the war was the British capture of Havana in 1762, a key strategic city that was also home to enormous quantities of treasure. When the British seized Havana, they took an enormous haul of gold, silver, and other valuables, treasure estimated to be worth between $1 billion and $2 billion in today's money. However, much of this treasure remained unaccounted for. Some believe that, after the British captured Havana, they may have offloaded a portion of the treasure at Oak Island before continuing their journey to Britain. If this is true, it would explain why Samuel Ball purchased land on Oak Island. His property might have been a key site for hiding this treasure. In 2015, the search for hidden treasure on Oak Island took another exciting turn when treasure hunter Terry DeVove and his team, including Jack Begley and members of the New England Antiquities Association, investigated Lot 6. While clearing brush and using metal detectors, they made an unusual discovery: a rock formation that didn't appear to be a natural fracture. Instead, the rock seemed to have been deliberately shaped, possibly as a cover or back wall for something hidden beneath it. This discovery raised more questions. Could this be further evidence of treasure buried on Oak Island? What made this even more tantalizing was the possibility that Samuel Ball, having been a part of the British military, might have known about British efforts to hide valuables on the island, and that he could have played a role in guarding or even retrieving some of the treasure. In 2019, Rick and Marty Lagina, the current leaders of the Oak Island treasure hunt, decided to dig deeper into Lot 25, Samuel Ball's original homestead. Using ground-penetrating radar, they discovered an anomalous void or possible tunnel near the foundation of Samuel's house. This finding prompted archaeologist Laird Niven to secure a permit for further excavation, as he believed that Samuel's choice of Lot 25 might have been intentional, connected to knowledge he had gained during his time in the British military. As excavation proceeded, the team took extra care, aware that the deeper they dug, the more questions arose. Was Samuel Ball's wealth simply the result of savvy business dealings, or was he guarding a much larger secret? The fact that Samuel had constructed a house on Lot 25, a rare accomplishment for someone of his background, suggested that his wealth might not have come solely from cabbage farming. Analysts have long speculated that there are many pieces missing from the puzzle of Samuel's legacy, and each new discovery on Oak Island seems to offer more clues. Perhaps the key to unlocking the island's mysteries lies buried beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. Samuel Ball's life is a captivating blend of resilience, mystery, and triumph, woven into the enduring enigma of Oak Island. Rising from his origins as an enslaved teenager to become one of Nova Scotia's wealthiest landowners, Samuel's story is one of extraordinary determination. However, it is not just his remarkable success that fascinates historians and treasure hunters. It is the secrets he left behind, buried beneath his land and within his legacy. It all began with an unusual discovery beneath the foundation of Samuel's home. As the excavation team dug deeper, they unearthed a hidden tunnel, initially detected through ground-penetrating radar. This tunnel, carefully constructed and leading southeast, was accompanied by a stone box drain approximately 4 feet deep. Despite its emptiness, the tunnel's deliberate design suggested it was not a mere accident of construction. Why was it there? What purpose did it serve? These questions lingered as the team pressed on, uncovering more evidence that Samuel's property was far more than a simple homestead. Samuel's land stretched over 7 acres, far more than required to sustain his small family, and featured multiple outbuildings scattered across the property. This hinted at a sideline business of significant scale. Then, in 2020, 5 years into the investigation, an artifact surfaced that deepened the mystery: a fragment of a British Navy jacket, dated between 1804 and 1825. Its irregular edges and period-specific fabric suggested connections to powerful naval forces. But this was just the beginning of what Samuel's property would reveal. One of the most intriguing artifacts tied to Samuel was a gold-gilded master and commander officer's button from the British Navy, uncovered using advanced CT scanning technology. This button, belonging to a high-ranking naval officer responsible for loading ships, hinted at Samuel's possible ties to the British Navy. Was he trading with them? So what was he trading? Speculation swirled as more clues emerged. Beneath Samuel's land, a mysterious tunnel stretched toward the southeast shoreline, and nearby on Lot 26, a peculiar well became a focal point for investigation. This well never froze, even in the dead of winter, leading geoscientists and archaeologists to analyze its water and organic materials. Their findings were astonishing. One of the only silver traces outside the legendary money pit was detected in samples from the well, further connecting Samuel's land to the island's treasure lore. The mysteries didn't stop there. Offshore from Samuel's property on Lot 25, the team discovered the remains of a massive stone wharf. Measuring 16 feet wide and over 100 feet long, the structure was far too large to serve the needs of a humble cabbage farmer. Its scale suggested a deeper purpose, possibly tied to a lucrative contract with the British Navy to supply fresh produce, such as cabbage, to combat scurvy aboard their ships. Others theorized the wharf may have been used for smuggling or even safeguarding treasure, adding yet another layer to the speculation surrounding Samuel's activities. Samuel Ball's story took a personal turn in 2017 when his descendants, Tony and Ivan Boyd, shared family anecdotes with treasure hunters Rick and Marty Lagina. They described Samuel as a man of incredible intelligence and resourcefulness, traits that enabled him to amass wealth and property despite his early life as an enslaved individual. "Our mother always said this is our people's land," Ivan shared, emphasizing the pride and mystery surrounding Samuel's legacy. The family firmly believes Samuel discovered something on Oak Island, though they doubt it was the island's legendary cache of treasure. "He found something, but not everything," Ivan stated, leaving the door open to further speculation. The discoveries tied to Samuel Ball's land paint a vivid picture of a man whose life was far more complex than it appeared. From jewelry and silver artifacts to hidden tunnels and naval relics, the clues hint at a life intertwined with Oak Island's deepest mysteries. Some researchers believe Samuel was entrusted by the British military to guard treasure, rewarded handsomely for his discretion. Others suggest he used his connections and cleverness to capitalize on the island's strategic position for trade and commerce. The question remains, could Samuel Ball have been a key player in Oak Island's long-standing treasure mystery? As the search continues, Samuel's story grows even more compelling. Every discovery on his former property, whether it's a silver artifact or a mysterious tunnel, adds another layer to the narrative. Yet, perhaps the greatest treasure isn't buried beneath the soil, it is Samuel himself. His life, his triumph over adversity, and his enigmatic legacy serve as a powerful testament to human resilience and ingenuity. Could Samuel Ball's story hold the final clue to unlocking Oak Island's secrets? Only time will tell, but his journey remains one of the most captivating chapters in the island's storied history.